This video is brought to you by War Thunder. When Marvel Rivals was first announced, I'll be honest and say that it looked like a straight-up joke. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was in a horrible place, the hero shooter genre was bleeding out on some street corner, and the live service market was so congested that I was about to give that bitch a Mucinex. Paired with the fact that this game was being developed by NetEase, a company with zero experience in this genre and a lot of experience in microtransaction-ridden mobile games that almost never do well within Western audiences, it was safe to assume that Marvel Rivals was going to be as successful as a cement airplane. So, what the fuck happened? Your friends are obsessed, your co-workers are obsessed, and your mother? A Grandmaster Thormain, and you think you know someone. As a person who never really vibed with the hero shooter genre, eventually I caved and decided to give this game a shot. And my first experience with it was probably the same as yours. Alright, let's try this out. What the f happened? Marvel Rivals is good, and I say that through tears and gritted teeth, because in a way, it shouldn't be. I mean, just listen to this sentence. A Disney-owned intellectual property 6v6 free-to-play live service hero shooter made by a Chinese mobile game company has very positive reviews on Steam. Yeah, this sentence sounds so fake that I may have accidentally activated a Russian sleeper agent by saying it out loud.
John Lennon.
But it's real. It's real! So let's start off with an overview. Marvel Rivals is a lot like Overwatch, a standard 6v6 hero shooter mainly focused on point captures and pushing an objective. Every character has a set number of core abilities which can range from movement, healing, shielding, damage, or some other weird thing, alongside an ultimate move that can be generated through fighting, healing, or just being in the battle. There's health packs spread throughout, maps and spawn points change as the game progresses, and your entire objective is to either capture or defend a point of interest on the map. And that is all there is. Roll the credits. There's no real economy, itemization, leveling, shops, or evolutions. You just kind of go for broke until you either win or lose. This may sound like it's a negative, to which I say, kind of? We'll touch on that later. But in turn, it creates a very fast-paced, arcadey experience that doesn't hold you hostage for too long when things aren't going your way. This also allows the formula to compound in on itself and focus on adding depth to maps, characters, and mechanics that keep every round fresh and exciting. Though this game very clearly took its bones from Blizzard's massive predecessor, Marvel Rivals manages to add enough variety, content, and big-ass butts to keep this genre refreshing. A singular difference that cannot be overstated enough is a third-person camera, which not only changes fundamental aspects of the game, but also adds so much value to the visuals in place. Everything from your skills to your melee animations have an added weight when you can actually see them. It also feels a lot worse when Spider-Man kicks you in your head. I've always wondered what the point of skins are in a first-person game. So you could see your wrists are now blue instead of red? But in third-person games, cosmetics just make so much more sense. Marvel Rivals currently has 39 heroes to choose from, which is impressive because the game has only been out for a few months. Each hero is classified into either a tank, a support, or a DPS. Unless I'm playing, then the game just has 39 DPS characters, because I'm different. By the way, I know that this game tries to call these roles something else, but we know what they are, come on. Whoever gets mad at that needs to stop vanguarding their virginity from the hose. Anyways, depending on your class, you'll be designated a few tasks in order to optimize your chances of winning. As a tank character, your main goal is to serve as a front line for your team, help them push, CC opponents, defend your healers, and disrupt the match in any way possible. As a DPS character, your goal is to focus high priority targets like tanks that are out of position, healers that are giving you a clear shot, and other DPS characters that are simply not as talented as you are, my special little angel. And finally, there's support characters, who only have 2 real tasks. Numero A is to somehow keep your entire circus of donkeys alive and healthy by strategically healing everyone the exact second they need it forever. And number B is to flinch every time a Spider-Man is on your screen. Based on which class you choose, everything from your positioning, playstyle, survivability, and threat level will have to be approached differently. But the best part about Marvel Rivals is the absolutely insane amounts of character variety. Within each class of hero, there are basically subclasses of playstyles required to make them work. Characters that have to get up close and personal in order to be effective. Characters that need to find great angles to pick off unsuspecting opponents. And characters that need to stand on the curb on a Wednesday morning so that someone can come and pick this trash up. Let's dive into some key examples. The Incredible Hulk is a short-ranged, knuckle-blasting madman. Maybe we don't say knuckle-blasting? His main source of damage are his left and right fists, whom I call judge and jury. And you don't want to know what the executioner is. The Hulk can also clap to send a piercing projectile out every 8 seconds. In order for him to close the gap and punch people, his jump ability can be charged to go incredibly far. Not only that, he can also jump towards walls and stick to them in order to find better flangles to catch out unsuspecting opponents. I gotta take a quick second here and say, just look at this. It's so much cooler because the game is third person. Do you know what this would look like with a first-person camera? Moving on. Alongside his base ability and his BFJ, the Hulk can also grant gamma shields for himself and nearby allies, which shield for a decent amount of damage, but get this, some of the damage absorbed by the shields are converted into energy for his ultimate, giving you a reason to try to shield people actively being focused or just as many people as possible to charge this ult faster. Hulk's final core ability is to yell at someone so loud that their fight or flight response turns off. If this ability hits an enemy, they are exiled in place. But here's what's interesting. They can only be damaged by the Hulk, and if the Hulk damages them, then the stun wears off, which creates an in-game challenge in and of itself. Do you hit the exiled target to guarantee damage and make them run off? Or do you wait and hope that your team is smart enough to turn their eyes on the exiled opponent so that you can all time your damage together and execute them? The correct answer is A, punch them, your team. Hulk's ultimate is to become like the Hulk version of the Hulk. You get bigger, you get stronger, your attacks get insane knockback, and the clap of pain from earlier drops to a 1-second cooldown. The enemy team is about to think that they won an award by the sound of the roaring applause, but the only trophy they're getting is an ass whooping. He can also press his ult button again while in big mode to like try and beat some guy to death, but this move ain't that good. Probably don't use this one. At the start of every round or when Hulk is defeated, you turn into Bruce Banner, who's pretty weak overall, sporting a crappy pistol and a smoke grenade. But Bruce can quickly generate an ult charge to transform him into the normal Hulk. Hulk, as a hero, benefits greatly from just being a disruptor, jumping at the backline and forcing healers to run off, and then jumping away when things get hairy. He can disrupt opponents during important moments with his scream, and punch people off of the map whenever he's in his ultimate form. Every aspect of the Hulk is intended to divide attention. In his normal form, he's shielding, shouting, and jumping at your backline. In his ultimate form, he's a ranged monster that makes you fear cliff sides. And even in his baby Bruce form, though he doesn't really cause a threat on his own, you have to focus him down or he'll become the Hulk again in a matter of seconds and circumvent the death timer altogether.
And now it's time for a quick word from our sponsor.
War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and is available right now for free on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. Do you like tanks? We got them. Do you like planes? We got them. Helicopters, ships, armored cars, if you can drive it, you can find it. Tagline right there. You're welcome, guys. There are over 2,500 vehicles to select from. That's more vehicles than exist in real life. You can't verify this, so just assume that it's true. Each vehicle is incredibly detailed, with realistic graphics and authentic sound effects that place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. They're also modeled down to the finest details, like engines, fuel tanks, and crew members, which can all be destroyed in order to disable enemy fire. War Thunder is deep, not just relying on boring and basic hitboxes with health points. There's something for everybody. Hell, there's even 3 different modes that you can choose from to fit your vibe and style. Arcade for fast-paced matches and simplified physics, Simulator mode, which is not for babies and provides the ultimate challenge, and Realistic mode, which stands in the middle of intensity and authenticity. Personally, I love that this game has something for everybody. You could play with strategic prowess like a badass war general, or you could just turn your brain off and try to blow things up like a gorilla. That latter one is me. Join a worldwide community of over 70 million players in epic PvP battles, and delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. If you're a brand new player or someone that hasn't played in 6 months, you can actually use my links to sign up and get a massive bonus pack, which will include 100,000 silver lions, 7 free days of a premium account, and the exclusive vehicle decorator, the Eagle of Valor. Bonus pack is only available for PC and console. But this offer isn't gonna last forever, so what are you waiting for? Check out War Thunder right now from the links in the description, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Another tank in this game is Doctor Strange, whose playstyle, while still tanky, is a lot different. Whereas the Hulk's entire game plan is about diving and taking the battle to them, Strange's whole game plan is that of a conventional tank. His main ability is a projectile which deals damage from far away, and his other main ability is a giant shield he places in front of his body, which he can use to protect his squishies and push as long as they're positioned behind him. As Strange continues to take damage, he builds up dark energy so that he can use his big dark burst and deal a burst around him. But to keep things interesting, the more dark energy that he accumulates, the less effective healing is on him overall, creating a risk-reward factor on whether or not you want to charge more in order to deal more damage at the cost of your survivability. Mobility-wise, Doctor Strange can float really slowly, and one of the most important abilities of his kit is his ability to create portals. It's a lot like that hit game Portal, or if you've never heard of that game somehow, then it's a lot like that other game Portal 2. Doctor Strange can create a portal between 2 different locations on the map, creating entire new approach options to capture points or just being annoying. And it really is a full-fledged portal. You could shoot through it, enemies can jump through it. It's a straight-up rip in the fabric of space of time. It's also a rip in some people's GPUs, because this will kill your computer. This portal will turn your 3090 into a 30 and a 90. People have gotten so creative with this move, using it to bait opponents to jump off of a map, or pointing it at the sun to blind people. It's so funny. Doctor Strange's ultimate... I'm still laughing at the sun thing. Doctor Strange's ultimate ability is to blast the souls out of nearby enemies. The main issue is that it has a long windup, doesn't have a lot of range, and as a slow character, it's hard to get in position to use it correctly, unless you're smart and create a portal in the sky to bring down death from above. Or if they're not paying attention, just like walk up and do it. I spoke of these 2 characters because though they occupy the same role of the game, they both offer a set of challenges to deal with and a unique enough playstyle to almost feel like a different class entirely. Groot makes walls, Penny sets traps, and Venom twerks. These are all tank characters with defined strengths, weaknesses, and sometimes glutes. For DPS, there's characters like Punisher, who plays almost exactly like a Call of Duty character. He has a shotgun, a machine gun, can set up a turret and deal a lot of damage at the cost of being immobile. He can also zipline to traverse terrain, throw grenades, and actually feels pretty good, even though he's a human who has to shoot at people like Magneto and Adam Warlock. Imagine if this was canon. Imagine if Magneto died to the Punisher. His ultimate is to basically equip a mech suit of machine guns and rocket launchers, and then turn your enemy's team and lineage into a parking lot. I'm talking about Punisher because I know a lot of people who only play conventional shooting games, and they all defaulted to this character and have had some pretty solid results. But me, I'm not great at PvP shooting games, and instead, I like to play something much faster and in your face. So let's talk about my favorite character in the game that made me go from, Overwatch clone to, I'm talking about Spider-Man.
Showtime! Spider sense. Web swing! Maximum spider!
Spider-Man is my favorite PvP team shooting game character design ever, because he really feels like Spider-Man. He feels like Spider-Man. As Spider-Man, all of your main damage is very close ranged, but as a DPS character, that can all be hard to pull off since you're squishy. I mean, that would be true if you were a bit. You see, Spider-Man is fast as hell. His main form of movement is to swing around the map and run on walls. Jarvis, show me what running on walls would look like from first person. Thank you, Jarvis. Now jerk it a little. As Spider-Man gets into position with enemies, he has an uppercut that he can use to displace opponents and deal decent damage, a melee auto combo he could use to light up squishier characters, and a web grab he could use to either pull himself to an opponent or pull a far opponent to him, or off a cliff. He can shoot webs to mark enemies, and this allows him to fly directly towards them or deal more damage with his melee attacks. In turn, you have to not only move with precision and aim your shots while zipping around the map, but also time your combos to mark opponents in between melee attacks. And his ultimate is an AoE burst that deals a ton of damage and can stun everyone in its range. Everything you do as Spider-Man feels closer to that of a fighting game than it does to that of a shooter. Precisely timing your combos that are meant to execute squishies, or finding disruptive angles on opponents that slow them down or rip them away from each other. But get this, though not anywhere near the strongest character in the game, Spider-Man offers one more secret advantage for your team, and that is the fear of God. Going against a good Spider-Man is the equivalent of taking way too much Benadryl and being forced to operate heavy machinery. You're nervous the entire time, you're flinching at something that may or may not actually be there, and you also might die. These are only 4 of the 38 characters currently in the game, and they are all this nuts. Wolverine is a DPS that melts tanks. Thor is a tank that melts DPS, and Human Torch is a DPS that just melts, like generally. I think that's a thing in the comics. I can go on for days about these characters because they're all designed so well. But instead, let's focus on other mechanics added to keep this game interesting. Because alongside these base abilities that every character has, some character combinations come with a little thing called team-ups, which are specific moves and properties that are only available if you have an ally available. Wolverine is a little straightforward in his approach, but hilariously, the Hulk can straight up throw him, giving him a new angle to launch his attack. Spider-Man's burst is a little too weak to fully execute a lot of characters, but when paired with Venom, he gets an AoE symbiote attack that gives him a bit of bonus damage that he needs to one-shot some heroes. Luna Snow is a somewhat immobile support who can be caught out and killed quite easily if she's out of position, but when teamed with Iron Fist, she gets an ability that allows her to knock enemies back and peel for herself. Rocket Raccoon can ride Groot, which is kind of useless, but conceptually it's quite cute. I've always been a fan of games doing stuff like this. Rakan and Xayah in League of Legends being good characters on their own, but great together. It creates like this extra layer of depth when it comes to selecting your hero in the midst of combat. It seems like it's kind of a nightmare to balance, but I feel like if this is done correctly, this system alone can create a lot of specific use cases for team variation in higher level play. But it does have a lot of kinks to wear out. And speaking of kinks, Emma Snow is so bad. Like, so bad. Sorry, I don't even think this is a point. I just wanted to say that. The maps in this game are a wonderful example of how powerful a committed art style is. From the futuristic backdrop of Tokyo 99 to the industrial look of Hell's Heaven. You know an art style is impressive when they can make New York look enticing. That place is the pits. I got a phone call from New York the other day, so I picked it up, and guess what? They mugged me. The visuals in this game are basically Coco Melon for adults. Everything is so vibrant and in your face that you almost never lose your target or yourself in the midst of battle. The only thing you lose is track of time when Galacta begs you to keep playing like the devil on your shoulder.
I get it!
Structurally, the maps are created with the massive roster in mind, having a lot of areas to flank and surprise opponents. There's healing packs that could serve as a brief respite for characters who are fast enough to get them without forcing them to leave the fray for too long. If you're a Spider-Man main like myself and your support can't heal you because you're always 3 cities away, you can either learn where the health packs are or play a round of Rumbleverse. Kind of a deep cut, that game's dead. You'll be dead too, you get it. Some maps have very high or non-existent ceilings, which are perfect for flying characters. Other maps force you within corridors, keeping things up close and personal, benefiting melee heroes, and this list goes on. This isn't really anything new on its own, but Marvel Rivals also introduces destructible environments, which when used correctly can offer your team more positions to launch your full-scale attack, damage opponents, or just give you a bit of refuge. There are stages where environments can be triggered to generate new terrain or create elevators. Environments where destroyed terrain can become a map hazard. There are literally different metas based on the map at hand, which is kind of funny when you think about it canonically.
Alright, team. Kingpin has those hostages locked inside of a warehouse. He said if you even hear somebody trying to get involved, he'll execute all of them without mercy. The name of the game is Stealth. Who's with me?
Alright, maybe we get someone else? Now that I've glazed hard enough, I have to dive into a bit of the nitty-gritty. Because while I think this game is good, I also find this formula to be a bit lacking in some regards. Due to the lack of economy, itemization, and game state, to me, Marvel Rivals does fall a little too close to an arcade experience. I understand this is what they're going for, and they definitely found a way to make it work, shortening the time between games so much that it's hard to tell that you had a break in between them at all. Hell, after a match, the game doesn't even force you to make a lobby or anything. It just has a big golden button that says one more game. It's genius. But as we've seen in other titles that share a similar formula, when a game becomes too straightforward, it can very quickly sour the experience when the meta is fully figured out. Triple supports have already started to disrupt the meta, and without a diligent and very talented balance team, I do worry about things becoming stale. It's too early to tell whether or not this is going to be a recurring theme, but in the 6 or so months of this game's life, I've already seen more than enough bad takes to make me want to mute this topic altogether. Weirdly enough, even though this game was developed by a company known for aggressive monetization, I'd go as far as to say that Marvel Rivals has some of the best monetization practices I've seen in a live service game. These developers really respect your time. Whereas other games twist your arm per battle pass and make you clock in for a 100-hour shift in order to get the golden Peter Griffin skin, Marvel Rivals is a lot more lenient and allows you to work your way through purchased battle passes whenever you want, removing the stress of having to play so much and allowing people who are employed to live their lives. Do you hear me? Every other live service game in the world, we want to see our families. Speaking of seeing our families, now I want to address an elephant in the room. Something we all know that we kind of keep hush-hush. Ranking in this game is absolute nonsense. Like, it is genuinely so much easier to climb in this game than virtually any other title. Diamond in most games means that you're a heavy cut above the rest, refined your gameplay through hundreds if not thousands of hours, and went through rain, hail, snow, and hail to get there. The second hail was hell with an accent. Diamond in Marvel Rivals means that you had like 4 beers and a day off. I'm not sure how accurate these charts are, but apparently Diamond has almost as much players as Bronze. It may sound like I'm bringing this up as a bad thing, but I actually believe it's the exact opposite. So many games create this horrific environment where ranking up is a monumental ask, trudging your way through toxic games and not even enjoying the experience half of the time, but gritting your teeth in order to win something as silly as a ranked border. I understand that a lot of companies do this in order to artificially inflate playtime in lieu of actual content changes and patches, but I hate it. Marvel Rivals instead flips this formula on its head and goes,
"Hey man, just play the game for a bit. Maybe learn a hero or two, and in due time, you can be Diamond as well. And your neighbor is Diamond, and your friend is Diamond, and your dog is actually Grandmaster. He plays Mantis, though."
Sure, if you want to go real hard and climb to the mega upper echelon of players, you can, and that's cool. But they specifically made sure that that area of gamers is like 2 or 3 elos, reserved for the people who really want to test their mettle. But in Marvel Rivals, everyone can feel good about themselves and reach a rank that feels rewarding without the game saying, "Hey, dog, dumb it. You gonna crawl out of the Iron Division or what? You bitch." It hits the perfect middle ground of being evaluative while also being progressive. Which begs the question, if everyone can hit Diamond, is Diamond even special? Yeah, in the same way that being max level in an MMO is special. You put in the work for it. Who the fuck cares if you're ready to compete on the global stage? Just smile and move on. Sorry if I sound heated, I actually came from League of Legends, and ranked queues have definitely shaved off like 10 years from my life. But even if you don't like ranked, Rivals adds rotating game modes, missions to earn free skins, and a bunch of random stuff to do outside of getting that border up, which makes me very optimistic for the future of this game. I know it's still at the beginning of its life cycle, so they clearly had a lot of content built up, but they've been releasing stuff non-stop, and it's all really high quality. Skins get their own cinematics. Every single map is beautiful, and Disney needs to think about getting a plumber because someone in that studio is leaking. And boy, do they have a lot of stuff coming. The source material of Marvel is so vast. There's probably enough Spider-Man renditions alone to fill out a fighting game roster, which means that this game will literally never run out of content or ideas. That is, as long as it can keep up its momentum. Not to mention that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is on the upswing again, and I can imagine the marketing between the two is gonna go as hard as an Emma Frost player. I have to mention this somewhere in this long-ass script, but you look me in my eyes and you tell me that this isn't a game for gooners. I know that in the current day and age, for world building and realism, people tend to be offended when designs aren't conventional for the situations that they're in. And to those people, I say, time and place. This is Marvel we're talking about, not God of War. I don't care about historical or combat accuracy here. This never happened. Half of their designs are for the male gaze, and the other half are for the male gaze. When this Namor skin came out, I almost did too. Remember when they originally pulled out Squirrel Girl's model and found out that she has impossibly thick proportions? Like, it all makes sense. It's all clearly by design. Hell, they even secretly patched the game to give male characters larger dump trucks. As much as it may sound like I'm giving the Gooner game design too much credit for the sake of humor, marketing-wise, this is genius. People want to cosplay these characters. People want to draw these characters. The game is very hyped up right now, so it's essentially a great marketing idea for artists and models to piggyback off of this popularity and grow their own brand while promoting the designs of these characters. You know the old saying, sex sells, and superhero comic books have known that forever. I know she's not a Marvel character, but did you know that one of Wonder Woman's original weaknesses was being tied up? That's fetish. They know what they're doing, man. And if you think it's too much right now, just wait until they release Stripperella or the Malice version of Invisible Woman. Oh wait, no wait, they did that. Anyways, Marvel Rivals is a great game with a lot of potential. Hopefully, they can keep up the momentum and continue to deliver a fun experience we can come back to time and time again without necessarily having to devote our lives to meet battle pass quotas or spend hundreds of hours to get a decent rank. I understand that it's way too early to tell, but very few games these days seem to have limitless potential. Marvel Rivals is one of the few that has the player base, the mechanics, mechanics, the designs, and the IP to stick around for a very long time. And though I do think this formula is in a good place, I am also hoping that they continue to find ways to increase variation while also keeping it fast and loose. So I'll give this game an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, that sounds right. I've been thinking about Emma Frost too much. I gotta get out of here. One more massive shout out to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. Go ahead and check them out from my link in the description, and I'll see you out in the battlefield. I hope you enjoyed the video. I haven't done a conventional Can We Talk About This episode in such a long time, so I'm glad that we're back on the wagon there. If there's any other game you want to see me talk about, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get to it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and here's a link to a video on my second channel that I'm finally starting to upload on. How cool is that? Anyways, I think that's all I gotta say. All right, yeah, bye.